Okay, guys, this one's going to be really quick because it's very obvious, but it's also an encouragement. So, yet another sign that you're being gang stalked, but this is in a workplace environment. Let's say there's these people that I'm looking out this window here. So, I'm not supposed to look, and we thought it was raining outside right now, but um, it's very slight. These people are. You got to remember they are petty. But the thing is you got to be safe too. You got to be wise, and it also depends on your employers whether they have standards of who they employ. Like let's say you're in certain areas, certain types of employment, like a minimum pay rate job or um, something like that. It If the workplace has good recruitment strategies in place, sorry, I'm standing up, then you'll be fine. It's when they're like, right, um, you don't have to have any qualifications to be in here, so who cares? Just get anyone. In other workplaces, they might say, you don't have any qualifications, but we would prefer one, you have work experience, and two, um, we want to make sure that you haven't committed or been found guilty of any crimes for the past 7 years, and that's the big difference. That's the big difference, guys, and that's one way to nullify that. Um, but if you're in a work environment where people don't care about their work, and you're just you are you're saying like you want to do the job properly, you want to do the job properly, and even though it's like you don't get paid extra for doing that, you're just doing your job, and like if something needs to be stacked up straight, you don't stack it so it's slanting to the side. You stack it straight because you know that if you stack it straight, you can fit more on there and be more effective doing that. And then you got these other ones that just can't be bothered doing that, and they might pick you out because of that reason. Um, uh, they might um, they might pick you out because you might have qualifications and they might not have any, so they might think, they might get butthurt over that. So I'm using my arms as an expression. um, yes, and you might not fit in because, well, I find myself I can quite fit in so long as they have those, you know, those pre-employment things in place. The make sure this person hasn't been found guilty of a major crime in the past 7 years, or make sure this person hasn't been locked in jail in the past 7 years before they get employed. Things like that. Those workplaces, I'm fine, but uh, yeah, if you find yourself in a workplace where you make the mistake of not asking them that question, not pursuing that type of knowledge from them, and you find out they don't have these things in place, you're best to get a job somewhere else where they have these things in place. Now, I realize you need the money, and I realize all this, but at the same time, the sooner you leave, the better. So, if you're in that situation, don't tell anyone, but if you haven't started looking for work elsewhere, start applying now. And if you get an interview and it's on a day where you have work, um, just tell just make sure that you go to that interview. Even better if you can have that interview outside of the hours you're working, because this place doesn't have those procedures in place. Or saying, oh, this person has not been found guilty of a major crime or has not been to jail in 7 years. They don't have these things in place. You need to be looking elsewhere straight away. And when you're being employed, don't forget to ask those questions. Don't forget to ask those questions. It's not so much a problem, and more. See, I got a bachelor's degree in multi studies and a national certificate in youth work. But yeah, I have had those experiences. So don't put yourself you don't put yourselves don't put yourselves in those experiences. Ask those questions, because when I got that, when I had that experience, it was my first full time job. So at the interviews I had most recently with finding work here in this region, I asked those questions straight away, because that was years ago when I had my first full time job. So yeah, just for you younger ones or less experienced about this, keep that in mind. Cool. See you. Bye bye. And if you find yourself being in that situation and you're being targeted, it's because you don't fit in. And if that's the type of work environment you're in, it's a good thing. It's a good thing you don't fit in with those people. See, I had that happen to me once, many years ago. I was at a place with a full-time job. It turned out in my department I was the only one that was not either patched in or didn't have any siblings or any affiliation to any gang. So I did not fit in there, and that's where that happened to me. So you need to be getting out of that place right now, and you need to be looking for employment right now. Okay? Don't forget these lessons, When you go have interviews with your next employers, make sure you ask about that policy. Do they have these things in place to ensure that the people that they have on their site, do not have a major crime impending or charge waiting to hear from, and that they have not been to jail or been found guilty or anything like that for any crime in the past 7 years. Do that. And if you've got qualifications and other stuff, try and get into the upper jobs. Okay. See you. Bye bye.